I wanted to begin going to the gym and posting content for years, but it was only just my ego which had stopped me from doing that. I want to just tell you the story of how my ego has stopped me from doing things. My ego stopped me from getting a job because I thought I was so great. I thought I could just get into business straight away without getting a job first, until I realized that I needed to get a job first to start that business. But it was only my ego that stopped me. I thought I was too great for those things, right? It had stopped my ability to listen to other people's ideas and see their facts and opinions through. I literally didn't post content for a year because I just got the method of this style of content posting wrong for a whole year, just because I didn't listen properly. And just because I just trusted my own instinct rather than my coaches. And this is important in dopamine detoxing because you are not going to achieve your goals in life. You are not going to quit your bad habits and begin doing good habits if you have this mentality in your mind that you're too great for those things, right? And I still have this to this day. Even I think to myself, oh, I'm too great for that. That's smaller than me. I'm bigger than that. I don't need to do that, right? It's something that I'm still working on and trying to be aware of. But yeah, I just want to tell the story. You may think that I'm going to bring up the book Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday, but I'm not actually going to. I just thought that this was a good title a good title for the video. It You can still go and read the book if you want to, but it's not about the book. So the first thing I realized when looking back at the past was that I thought I was too young, so it didn't matter. I thought I could mess around at that age because I was so young, and it didn't really have any negative repercussions on me. I just kind of left it to my older self to go and figure out, right? Which was a really poisonous mindset because your older self is literally just going to regret what you didn't do at that age. I had that mentality at like 14 and 15. I just had this mentality of I know I need to change, but I'll change when I'm 16, right? And now I'm 18 now, and I just regret not changing and just having too much fun. I remember when I was 13, I had the choice one day to do a workout or continue playing video games. What did you think I did? Of course I continued playing video games because it just didn't matter to me what I did. My choices just weren't profound at that time because I was just younger. I thought I was too young to start a YouTube channel, even though it was being pushed onto me as something that I did need to do. I should have quit video games the moment I knew that they were bad for me, but I just continued playing, right? Before I knew that they were bad for me, before I truly knew that they were bad for me, I was playing like 7 hours a day and even more than that. I just continued playing 7 hours a day, even when I knew that they were bad for me, like 5 hours. All because of this ego that you have when you're young, that it doesn't matter when you're young. And the sad truth is that it actually doesn't matter when you're young. You just don't see so many negative repercussions when you treat yourself negatively when you're young, and you don't even see any positive benefits when you treat yourself positively when you're young. Like if you're 14 and you do a workout, it doesn't really show, right? You don't really get the respect that you deserve from it. It's only until you're or an adult that it really begins to show. It was just so comfortable at that age to just procrastinate, right? And it was opposingly so painful to grow my life and grow myself as a person and quit my bad habits, right? I just didn't see results at 14, and I didn't see those consequences either. And I'm 18 now, and I do regret it heavily. I do regret not posting content, and I do regret not getting into the gym. And I've heard this from so many guys. They just regret not doing things when they were younger because of this ego that they have when they're young. So if you are at this age, like 14, 13, 15, and you are thinking about like dopamine detoxing and getting into good habits, you will gain so much power from that because you're literally just getting past your ego. You're getting past this wall of doing something and not getting results. I guess the only thing that made me quit bad habits was the negative emotions it gave me because I used to scroll at night and that would ruin my time at school, right? So that was something that had pushed me to quit at that age, but I was still largely addicted to substances at that age. So yeah, if you do manage to break out of this comfort bubble that you get from like your parents, where you can just do whatever you want without any repercussions, you are giving your future self, your 16, 18, 20-year old self, so much pride and power, and especially if you can really grind, because that's what I wish I did at that age, and that's what so many other guys wish they did at that age. I want to talk about progressive overloading. You may have heard of it in the gym, where you increase the weight over time to get an outcome. And I'd use this when I had gym anxiety. I used to have gym anxiety. It's called gym intimidation. It's literally just when you're anxious about getting into the gym and starting something new like that. And what I thought I had to do because of my ego was do a full workout straight away. But what I actually needed to do was just walk into the gym and then walk straight out. And then do that day in, day out, and slowly build myself. Do one machine and then two as the weeks go by. Right? That's what I actually needed to do. But my ego was so big that I thought I had to do a full workout right away. And that slow progressive overloading had worked anyway. I literally just walked in one machine on day one machine on day two, and then as the days went by, two machines, three, and then up until a full workout, right? Instead of just getting into a full workout first. That's what my ego wanted me to do. You you want to do the full thing, but you're not good enough for the full thing yet. Right, I wasn't good enough to do a full workout. I needed to start at the bottom and work myself up. I've been able to meditate for an hour because I started at the bottom. Right, I started with literally 5 minutes, and then it had taken me like 3 months to get to 20 minutes, and then like 2 years to get to 40 minutes, then a bit longer than that to get to 60 minutes. Right, that took a lot of patience and dedication, and I had to start at the bottom. I could not meditate for an hour straight right away. It has taken me years and dedication of patience to get to an hour, years and dedication of progressively overloading, and you'll find that you'll want to jump ahead anyway. Right, I remember I used to do like 7-minute meditations. I wanted to jump ahead to 20 minutes straight away to give myself a challenge. You'll find that you do a few ab crunches and then you'll want to do the full ab workout. Right? You'll study for like 15 minutes, then you'll want to study for the whole X amount of hours anyway. Right? It's all about just starting at the bottom and having the humility to get past your ego and see where you are, where you actually are in life. The next point I've written down is from the book The Mountain Is You by Brianna West, which is literally like the Bible for mental health. I've read it twice, right? It's really helped me to study how my own mind works. She says in the book, it is not brave to now say that you're comfortable when you've achieved everything that you've wanted to achieve in your life, right? You've got to be content with being happy now, being happy with yourself now, right? She claims that it is a poisonous belief to believe that you can only be happy once you've just achieved everything in life, right? You've got to begin showing up as you are in life. And I've practiced this myself. I I would have been quite uncomfortable working a job just ye, 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 year ago. But now that I've been practicing showing up as myself, I've been I am still quite uncomfortable. Like I don't want to work that job forever, but I wouldn't have got that uncomfortable feeling that I would have gotten a year ago because I've been showing up as myself. You have to lean into the embarrassment, lean into your ego shouting in your ear, telling you to stop. Right, lean into the embarrassment. It's gonna be painful, but you do get used to it and begin to be comfortable with it. I've had this in the gym when I started doing bench presses. I began benching the empty I began benching the empty bar as a progressive overload, and it did feel quite embarrassing to just have like those 2.5 kg donuts on each side. But I had to just push past the embarrassment and show up as who I was and drop the ego, because your ego is not gonna like this, right? Your ego is gonna tell you to stop. Happiness is not reserved for your future self, right? You've got to learn to be comfortable with who you are right now, and you'll find that when you do this, you actually perform better in life so that you can achieve that better life anyway, because you're not just in your mind and so uncomfortable about yourself. I had like social media content of like people telling me that I wasn't good enough. It was just perpetuating in my mind and keeping me insane. And that moves me on to the next point, which is releasing old experiences, which is a chapter also from The Mountain Is You. You store traumas and past experiences in your body, even if you've grown as a person, right? There have been things, most likely from social media, that have traumatized you. You've been heartbroken from like seeing someone who's better than you, for example. They surface as thoughts here and there and just make you feel really uncomfortable, and that feeling that you get when you remember something traumatizing. So the action step that I did was the action step from The Mountain Is You. She prescribes you to imagine talking to your younger self and telling them what they needed to hear at that time, right? To release those emotions and reattach to the present moment. You need to tell your younger self what they needed to hear, where they need to go, what they need to begin doing, and what they need to stop doing, who they need to talk to, who they need to call, right? And you have to especially tell your younger self that everything is going to be okay. This is how you release the past and actually figure out a way to solve it, instead of just reliving that same memory over and over again. You'll find that you'll actually be able to see things through and figure out a solution, like I said, instead of just seeing that thought over and over again at face value and feeling uncomfortable from it, right? And you have to dedicate time to this. Dedicate like an hour. You have to find like a peaceful time to do this, where you're just closing your eyes, meditating, talking to your past self, telling them comfortable words, telling them what you needed to hear at that time when your heart had just gotten broken. it really helps with, yeah, seeing things through, just reattaching to the present moment. You can also journal about what you saw to really get clear on it, and really rant about how it made you feel. And that I found that that kind of reciprocates with this exercise of talking to your younger self. And you cannot escape from these traumas, right? These traumas are physically stored in your body, and you need to release them by facing them first. The only way to release trauma is by facing it first, right? It needs to be dealt with directly. I tried to escape for so long by trying to use the anger that they gave me productively, but that just gave me more mental health issues and more mental fatigue, right? And even if you do build a better life for yourself, you will still feel traumatized, which is what she had mentioned in the book as well. I've built a better life for myself over years, but I still remember and am traumatized by what I saw. You can change who you are on the outside, but who you are on the inside will always stay the same. They'll always stay traumatized unless you heal them. And then I decided to stop consuming that content because that content was just too heartbreaking to hear and listen. It was just people doing better than me on social media and condemning me for being worse than them, and that I'm not like them. That's just traumatizing to see and hear, right? Of course that's gonna stay on your body, and that's something that you need to release. So stop consuming this content that's making you feel so heartbroken about your life. This will literally just come from a YouTube addiction, a scrolling addiction, a TikTok addiction, right? Just you've got to be careful with what you consume, because there are a lot of things that have been heartbreaking to me that I've still got to be careful with. You've got to be careful with what you consume, because there are a lot of things that I've seen that have been heartbreaking for me. It's mostly like people just talking about how great they are, people who are better than me in every area of life talking about how great they are and talking about how bad I am, and making me feel belittled, right? I've just decided to stop consuming that content entirely.